Welcome to The Engaging Life, a podcast about using engagement equity to improve your relationship building skills in your personal and professional life. And now, here are your hosts, Brandon Suba and Angela Cheney.
Hey, Angela.
Hey, Brandon.
What's happening?
Not a whole lot.
Ready to record the pod?
Don't ever.
We talked about this. This is what the cool kids call it, is the pod. You're on the pod. Hey, y'all, the listeners out there. This is the Engaging Life podcast. Angela and Brandon coming to you. This is a continuation of our season 3 CVJ journey. Did I get the acronym right?
You got it.
And it's not even in front of me, folks.
Well, it's CVJ because it's the customer value journey. So otherwise you'd be saying
journey.
Journey.
Oh, I do that all the time. Journey. We are on YouTube. Pixel Fire YouTube page. You can check it out and see us talking and watch as I flare my hands around because
it's something to behold.
Can't help but
a sight to behold. Mm-hmm.
To have and to hold. Okay, so we just had an episode on, what was it?
CVJ step 2, which is engage.
Right. And we're taking the path together because as we were talking about the season, I really felt there's a lot of things that coincide on the networking side with the journey. And my focus is a little more on those hard contact network groups. You've invested this money, you've invested this time. How can we get more out of it? So I'm really trying to break that down as we travel through here. So we had relationships. Well, we have credibility in the VCP process. And the episode we talked about was visibility to coincide with yours. And that's showing up, it's participating, it's being prepared, it's all those things. And that's, again, so people know who you are and they know what you do.
Absolutely.
But all of these things also are building onto your credibility. And here's the myth I'm going to bust for you. Just because someone joined your group, paid their dues, and you've met them once does not mean you should send them a referral.
Absolutely not.
This is why I really discourage sending referrals before you get to know anybody that hasn't joined before somebody hasn't even joined your group. You don't even know them, but you're like, oh my gosh, I have a client that needs that service. Well, what if you just referred them to the worst person for that service in town?
Right.
And you know this, you can learn this once they gain credibility with you. And if they don't, right. And if they never gain that credibility, then it's easy to say, gosh, I don't want to refer you. I'm not going to get in this episode, but we can probably talk about this on another episode someday. But it comes down to the whole, well, but they're in my group. Don't I have to work with them? You don't.
You do not.
You don't.
No matter what people will tell you, because some people in the group will tell you you are obligated to give all your referrals to whoever's in the group. And that's not the way it works.
It's not true. I think where I struggle, and again, I don't want to dig too, but I struggle if you should let them know, right? Like, hey, you did this, really a bad experience, or in the future, like this could hurt your credibility. As a director, as kind of that leadership role, I was able to do that.
So you're saying tell the person who is giving the too quick a referral.
No. I'm saying the person that you won't refer, you should let them know why you're not referring them.
Oh, that's a tough conversation.
That's why I don't want to dig into it. We're going to just get into the credibility piece to it today. Okay, so the big advantage, though, with your closed network group is you can build credibility with a lot of simple ways, consistently. And again, it's kind of in that organized fashion. We talk about networking events all the time. It's hard to build credibility there because you may see this one person once a year at this one event.
And there's maybe 30 other people who are trying to talk to them. You're trying to eat. You're trying to drink.
Correct.
There might be a band.
A speaker.
There might be a cute guy over in the corner.
When I hate loud space. Like my hearing's going, I've accepted this. But if there's 3 people standing and talking and it's loud, I'm sitting there with the dumb fake smile. Like I don't know. Oh, was that a joke? That was a good one. And I hate it because I can't participate. Okay, so credibility. So I've always used this analogy. It's really like a tight wire, right? I want you to think about somebody climbing up a big pole. They've got a tight wire in front of them. They take a few steps out. Now, if you're good at this, you can go pretty far. So if you represent your business well and you do the things we're going to talk about, you can probably go pretty far. But if at any time on a tight wire you fall, you have two options. You can be amazing and flip yourself back up onto it like a superhero, which I don't know anybody that can do that personally. Or you have to crawl your way back to the beginning and start all over, right?
So you're saying there's a net.
Well, this would be you held on. Because no, and sometimes there is not a net in this analogy. And if you fall and hit the ground, you're done.
Right.
You're done. But if you fall off a tie wire and you have to go back and you have to start from the beginning. So think about this as a relationship. You and I are in a group. We've done our one-to-ones. We actually kind of like each other. So yeah, I'll do business with you. Thanks for shaking your head to the camera. No, but I'll do business with you. You'll do business with me. This is going to be great. So let's say whatever, well, digital marketing, you do digital marketing. So let's say I'm your videographer and you're doing the digital marketing and you need my videos before you can really do what you referred me to do for the client.
Okay.
I don't do the video. Or, I do the video, but I don't get them to you. Okay. So now your client's like, oh no, I met with Brandon. We spent 3 hours recording. You're emailing me. You're calling me. I'm not responding. What happens to my credibility with you?
Goes down the toilet.
It goes down. So that's the tight wire concept. I've now fallen and I have to start back at the beginning. The worst part is we have to now struggle through this ordeal. But then after that, and it blows my mind, the people that don't realize this, mentally, I'm going to think, yep, I blew it. Like Angela's not going to use me anytime soon because I really messed this one up. But can I gain credibility back with you?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And in this case, I like that case scenario because it's a common mistake.
It is. And it could be, I guess it depends. To me, what would happen at this juncture would be I would need eventually, before I would refer you again. Number one, I'd need what you said you were going to give me.
Right. That's the worst part.
And then number two, I'd need an explanation. And whether that explanation is, I am really sorry I got swamped and I won't happen again. That would probably be good enough the first time.
Okay. Yep.
If it was a blatant lie, like I didn't get your emails or the client didn't finish things up with me, then I would likely you could not get back credibility. If you are honest with me, tell me what really happened to the best of my ability.
Right.
Or be a really good liar. Give me what I need and the product is good, then I would give you another try.
Then it's good.
But there's something that I have noticed with people. Now, there's always a mistake that people make. I mean, there's always mistakes that people make, and that is not always the kiss of death. But what I have found is once you start seeing a pattern, and I can notice them very, very early. I'm very adept because I've got what you call a scanner, and it sounds like a great thing. It's not. It's a terrible thing.
I kind of hate it.
From the way I was raised, I'm always scanning for problems, and I'm always scanning for something to worry about, and I'm always scanning for how people are because that's the way I feel safe. Unfortunately, it brings out a lot of stuff that's not true.
Right.
But it does make me a very, very good judge of character. So I can catch on pretty early when somebody's just going to be a shit show. And that this is not a mistake. This is Brandon.
Yes.
And I mean, I work with we have freelance writers that work for us. And invariably, if one tells me, I can't get this to you on time, and this could be the first time they say, I can't get this to you on time because I had a family emergency. Almost every time I'm just like, this is how the relationship is going to be for the rest of every once in a great, great, great while. It will just happen that the first time you talk to someone, they have a family emergency. It's rare. And, and I will give them another chance after that, but I've got my radar turned up to 10. Because then if the next time they're late, I got food poisoning. I've gotten that one a lot too. You had a family emergency a week ago. Boy, either the most unlucky person on the planet or this is how you are.
Well, we did a podcast on somebody we learned is notorious for this because post-podcast, didn't you have an experience with that somebody? And
it's just
consistency.
Just the way they are.
It is.
And you can either really try and figure it out, which I try and do sometimes because that's one of my hobbies.
I really dig it.
But a lot of the time, and you don't have to be a jerk about it. It's just kind of like, I respectfully end this relationship.
No, and I think I even ghosted. I'd have to check the messages. I just gave up, I guess. I shouldn't say I ghosted. I gave up.
Yeah.
I just gave up. So, so that's where you can build your credibility back. But see, I also feel too, the people that you're describing that are consistent, they're not really trying to build their credibility back. They're trying to hold on to something that's not going to happen anyways.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people do that. I really don't understand.
They probably don't understand.
They probably don't. They just,
they probably don't understand. Yeah.
So within the meeting, there are a lot of things that we can do to be building credibility. Most meetings are an hour to an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. So a lot happens. If you're on leadership team, obviously you are doing more. But if you're not, and you're just a member there, you only have these little pockets, So the first one is being prepared for your presentations, be it the longer presentation, the shorter presentation. And I will tell you, the further you get into these groups, the longer you've been in them, the less preparation you need. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's by default, because you probably have you got a minute. So you probably have that broken down where I want to share a little story. I want to tell you about a new product, or I do want to tell you specifically for a referral that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I think those 3 simplistic things every week work. You got to change it up a little bit. But if you prepare what is new. So at the bank, if I have a new product, I actually print out the email that's been announced. So I'm going to read it. I'm not going to try to memorize numbers and stuff. I want to get this information out correctly. So I'm going to read it. Oh, it's on my phone now. I don't print stuff. But so I'm going to read it to the group. And then 3 or 4 weeks later, I might readdress it. I don't need to read it again. You know what this money market looks like. You know the opportunities, just a friendly reminder. So to me, that's where I think some people think you have to have it typed out, written out, practice 7 times. Not for your weekly.
It actually makes you look like an amateur.
I hate people that read. I've actually, let me rephrase that. I don't hate them.
I hate people that read.
I have never seen a good presentation.
Right. Because they just You
got it. And for some, the introverts, hate to pick on you, but I think it's their protection.
Of course it is.
Right? It's their safety. So the more you can be prepared for these, the more people are going to be excited. And the more credibility you're going to gain, because it shows I didn't just think of this as it was going around. Mm-hmm. Am I always prepared? Nope.
And as you said, as you get more into it, I mean, you could put me in a networking meeting right now and tell me to get up and give a 1-minute present, and I would, no problem.
Correct.
And I would sound prepared. It would sound polished. Number one, I've spoke in front of groups a lot. I've been in networking groups a lot, and I'm good at it. So I wouldn't need to.
Right.
Prepare, but
your first 3 years in networking, you feel a little preparation went a long ways?
Maybe the first 6 months. I was in speech here, people.
I got kicked out of speech for talking. So here's a couple of
funny.
I'm not joking.
Is that like getting kicked out of drama class for acting weird?
Oh, that never happened. Well, the problem with speech was I was so darn excited that I always wanted to go first. And then I would talk with everyone after, because guess who? I did not care about your speech.
So you were interrupting everybody else.
And then I got kicked out. I mean, go figure.
I'm glad you did.
Not a shock, right? Okay. So things that can help people be impressed or remember. Clever presentations. And I didn't prep you for this. But what is, and I'll give a couple examples first, but start thinking about any clever presentations. Okay. But
don't talk yet.
Yep. Don't talk yet. Okay. 1. And he's still in a group. He would do a rhyme. He's a florist, and he would write a rhyme, almost a rap. And they were phenomenal. Because again, a florist during Valentine's Day, you better ramp up a few weeks, remind everybody and everything. He would have a rap, a fun little rap, like the 4 weeks going into Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Just phenomenal. Another guy, this was in Lincoln, sang. He was a very good guitar player. He was in a band. He would bring his guitar, and he would have a little jingle that he wrote, and he did car repair. So it was almost like you got the jingle from the commercial, and it wasn't what he put out for advertising. He would tailor it, and he would add names of people and really include everyone. And those always really stood out to me. Okay, did I give you enough time to think of one?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to think of one. I actually had something to address, because I think the 2 examples you gave are complete outliers.
As in, people wouldn't generally do that.
Well, they're clever, and they were executed very, very well.
Correct.
I think if you're going to try to do clever, you better make sure they are like that, because to me, watching somebody try to be clever is like watching the worst comedy movie in the world.
Yes.
And it is painful and it hurts and it makes me want to look away and I'm embarrassed for them.
Yep, done that.
I would much, much, much rather they just played it straight.
Just keep it cool.
Unless you know you're a fantastic guitar player or that you can write amazing, which that is not, that's like the upper.
Okay, what about like a poem? That's still too much of an outlier.
I don't know. For some reason, people trying to be clever, I hate it.
You just hate it?
And that could just be me. But because I've been in groups, where everybody gets into I said something funny, then the next person. Because then that's what happens is then the next person will try and make a shitty rhyme.
Okay.
And then it just turns into a farce. So
that can happen. With the two examples I gave, it generally didn't because they nailed it so good. What about an accent? Because when I was in mortgages, I would do Build a Tony. Well,
in this day and age, that could get you in a lot of trouble.
Well, everyone laughed and it was amazing.
It could be racially insensitive. I hate to say that because I do accents all the time.
Right.
And I
had the worker.
A little aside, I took Delaney to a meeting with me yesterday because it was with a friend of mine, but he had not met her. Mm. And so we walked into the coffee shop and he's like, "Oh, and you must be Delaney." She's like, "Hello."
Oh, she did that.
And he's just like, "Are you from Britain?" And they went back and forth. We're like, anyway, so we do a lot of accents. But in a group like that, especially if you don't know everyone very well yet.
Okay, early days. Yeah. I've never seen a new member coming in
and doing
writing
accent.
Songs. No,
hello, governor.
They're just excited to be there and nervous to talk. This, and again, remember.
All right, but what if there's a guest there
long-term members
that gets offended very easily, and you pull out your Speedy Gonzalez accent?
Well, you can't do that one. This was like a Brooklyn accent. I mean, you want to know your crowd. Okay. And my goal here is to give people ideas of something fresh to do, because I think, especially long-term members, they fall in that category of, well, you know what I do. I'm here every day.
I do think, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here.
Oh, let's do it.
I think you have a little bit of self-bias because you just have that goofy personality where you can bust out anything and people like you.
Yeah,
and even if you fail at it, people still like you and still laugh and it still brings up the energy in the room. And I do not think that's the norm. Okay, so let me challenge you then.
Take it out of where my brain is going. What do you think would be creative that wouldn't fall under, that you wouldn't have to worry about how people perceive it?
I really see networking groups as kind of out of the realm of creativity. I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this correctly.
Let's try.
But so I'm a fiction writer, but I also write website copy and I also write blogs. And I know not to try. Bad blog writers are the ones who try to inject all this personality into it. And it doesn't work. It's like, save that for if you really want to go out and make jokes, join an improv group. If you really want to go out and play the guitar, join a band.
Yeah.
This is a networking group. Get up there, be professional, say something that makes sense, say something that makes people think. So for me, it's not about being clever, because you know what being clever is? Look at me. That's what being clever is.
Go figure.
I mean, that guy gets up there and plays the guitar. Look at me.
Yeah, true.
Look at me.
True.
And so to me, like, one of my favorite jobs at BNI was when I got to be the educational coordinator.
Mine too.
And I prepared a lot for it. And each one of them was a psychological sales technique that everybody could put into use. That was, obviously education is supposed to be for the other people.
Yeah.
But I think, clever is find a way to get everybody thinking,
okay.
and give them kind of a job to do. That's, to me, you're doing it for a reason and not just I'm going to be the coolest person in the networking group, because
loud.
That's what clever. And a lot of the time, and I guess clever is different than, being the jokester or,
sure.
Clever can just be smart.
That's true.
Clever's another word for smart. And giving the kind of presentation I just talked about would be clever because it's smart. But you were talking more about attention getting.
Yeah.
And people who try and draw a lot of attention to themselves bother me.
Well,
so
and if they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like if that guy wrote a song every single week, it would probably lose its pizzazz because you're like, oh yeah, I wrote a song.
He didn't do it every week?
No. No.
Okay.
And there was no poem every week or rap. They were just from time to time they would do these to kind of stand out a little bit, do something a little different, like Valentine's Day.
Again, it's all how it's executed.
It is. And again, the cool thing is in a tight group, you know your audience a little bit better. Yeah. The visitor question is a good question though. I know for me, I probably wouldn't change. Like I would just
still be Speedy Gonzalez?
No, I wouldn't do Speedy Gonzalez.
But the other thing is, so we're talking about building credibility here. Mm-hmm. Okay. It would build no credibility with me if the car repair guy could play the guitar.
Really?
He's going to play the guitar to my car and fix the engine?
Well, more prepared is what I was going for on that one versus building your credibility based upon how creative you got.
What I would much rather hear? And granted, I know you're saying that he didn't do this every time.
Right.
I would love him to get up and say, somebody brought their car in the other day, it had the check-in engine light on. They thought it was this, or this. In 10 minutes, I had gone on and fixed this wire to that and fixed it. Something like that. That related to their problem-solving skill and why I might want to take my car there or refer my car there.
And so here's what I love about this. So if you think about it, what I see as building credibility, right, in my eyes, and what you see are two totally different things.
Okay.
And what people have to realize is you have 10, 15, 20, 30, 80 members in your group. The higher the number, the harder this is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure you are right.
It's not going to hit everyone the same way.
It absolutely won't. And that's why being creative on different levels is
But
important.
You're absolutely right. Those things that you were referring to would get them talked about. And I could certainly see, I can picture 10 people in my head right now who would have come out of a meeting like that and told 10 people.
Yep.
So you're definitely right. Just because it's not my cup of tea and it makes me cringe, it's not the only way of thinking.
But I could see you and I sitting in a conference breakout and I'm just dead bored and you're loving every minute. And then we walk out and I'm like, well, that was horrible. And you're like, what do you mean? Look at my notes. And that's why we do this. We're a little different. We're a little different.
We are. Yeah.
Okay. So this one will be a little more specific then, but building credibility, equipping them to find referrals for you.
Which is kind of what I was saying.
Which is what you were going for. Yep. And that shows preparation, but then having a little creativity. My thing I always explained was teach them what to say to convert a prospect into a client.
Okay.
Because if I say this, Angela, you need to buy this widget from me. And I know 3 things that are a big challenge with people and this widget fixes it. And you're like, oh, great. I want the widget. Right.
Yeah.
So if you can teach your group those 3 things, it equips them to have something to talk about when they leave. And that gives me a lot of credibility because now you're actually educating me on how to build that referral for you. Mm-hmm. I'm more equipped now. I'm excited to get you this referral. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, I was just standing in the perfect time. I remember what you said because you were prepared and it was presented well. And I said those things and now I have a referral for you. My credibility went up because I brought you a referral.
Right.
Your credibility went up because you prepared me for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the best ways to do that is because you've been in plenty of these groups. You know that most of the time that people are in there, there's 500 competitors to them in town. And so talking about how you're different.
And that's beyond important because what is it? Oh gosh, what do people always say? I can't think of a good example now. Even when it was with the BNI, it was like, so what do you do? Oh, well, I help people grow their business through referrals. Okay. Well, I've heard
a good referral for you, everyone.
See, and I've heard 20 other people tell me that you're going to help me grow my business through referrals. Digital marketing, I'm sure you have some of those common things that people just say. And it's like, okay, I need something different though, because 7 people have told me that and I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
So you guys can keep saying that's how you do it.
Like us, I would probably go in if I was in a group like that in this day and age. And I was supposed to fill in for Dan tomorrow and I didn't know any of these people. I would probably go in and say, Angela Cheney with Pixel Fire Marketing, we do online marketing. But one of the new things that we do is we can tell you exactly who has visited your website for how long and get you all the information to contact them. Boom. Because there's not a lot of people in this town that are doing that. Mm-hmm. So it's a small part of what we do, but at least that would grab attention. If I got up and said, we do beautiful websites that are mobile friendly, everybody would be like, snore.
Yep.
Because they've heard it a million times.
It got to the point, I was visiting so many chapters and seeing so many presentations, and it's just natural order. I would have like a whole week where it was all the chiropractors, right? Mm-hmm. All the chiropractors were presenting that week. And I was like, And there was maybe one new thing. Now, they should be telling their group the new things, right? But by the fifth time I heard it, and it was all the exact same way presented, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe this actually happened this way. And not one person stood up. Actually, I have a good example. I was at a meeting. They were open. The seat was open for a CPA, and they had 8. And each person stood up and they said the exact same thing, right? I empower professionals by helping them with the analyzation of their talent, blah, 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 whatever. I paid attention, as you can tell. The last person, I'll never forget what he said. He stood up and he goes, I do everything that everybody has said, but man, am I excited to be here. And I was like, that dude.
That's
that
fantastic.
Dude gets my vote.
You want to know what's funny? Todd doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can tell the story. And I think I have before. First time I met him was in a BNI group where it was that exact same scenario. There was a seat for financial planner. There was 6 of them there.
Yep.
He was the last one to go, and he failed miserably. He acted like a huge jackass and was loud. And I mean, I honestly looked at Scott, who had brought him. I'm just like, the fuck is this guy?
This is fantastic.
And I voted against him. He joined. He knew people or something. I'm just like, this is the biggest douchebag ever. No, absolutely not.
No. Now you're married to him.
And now I'm married to him.
You voted him out of the chapter, but not out of your life.
Unfortunately, he stayed in the chapter, so my vote didn't count, which is the story of my life.
Oh, that's too good. That's good. Okay. So again, equipping people to understand what you say to convert that prospect into a client. That's always a really good presentation you can do there. Everything that we just talked about applies for your main presentation. Also, you just have
a lot more time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So be more prepared for that. We did the don'ts on the last one, so I really want to...
Don't give the same presentation.
Don't give the same presentation. Don't ask for the same things that you've been talking about for the last 20 weeks, because we already know. You ready for this one? Don't grab a chair, flip it around like AC Slater from Saved by the Bell, and sit down in the middle and say, well, we got a lot going on in my industry, so
ask me anything.
Ask the questions.
By the way, I had a big crush on AC Slater.
Just so you know exactly what I'm talking about, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Kapowski for me.
Ah,
who didn't?
Everybody had a crush on Zach. I always had to go for the one, not the straight nerd, not Screech.
Yeah, right.
But I always went for the one who was still kind of attractive, but nobody paid any attention to. I was like, yeah. New Kids on the Block, Danny. Nobody liked Danny, so I liked Danny.
You did.
Uh-huh. Yep.
That's a good theory. Okay, so we're not really going to dig into the feature presentation piece. Again, the more prepared. Although games, I always found games kind of fun.
Yeah, I like games.
Here's the things I've been talking about. Now, if you really prepare, I guess I've never done this. If you really want to go above and beyond, make the game like the day after you present. So you have a good month or so, and then literally give the answers to all the questions from point A to B. So then when you give your presentation, you've literally given everyone the answers. That's prep. If you do that, please leave us a message in the comments.
A treasure hunt?
You can come on this show.
Do a treasure hunt. That would be fun.
See, those are all good things. And that
does take a lot of preparation.
It does.
And some people don't have that time. Well, you can make the time.
You can make the time. Again, don't do this on your first presentation. Don't
be too cutesy.
Yeah, don't feel you got to really blow it out of the water, because you have so many more ahead of you. So many more ahead of you, even if you only stick it out for 1 yeyear. So then the referral and testimonial. And I think this is a part of the meeting that a lot of people don't see an opportunity to build credibility. But I think it's very important, because if you give a testimonial, Angela, have you ever heard someone give the same testimonial 3 months in a row?
Yep.
Yeah, there was a deck that got built once. The real estate agent referred the deck to the contractor in the group, and that real estate agent brought it up for about 6 months.
Oh.
Every meeting. Every meeting. Oh, and that deck I sent over really worked out well. Just like, no.
They have nothing else to say.
They had nothing.
They're making it very, very obvious.
And they're making it worse. Okay. So that testimonials, and here's the whole next level on testimonials. Write it down. Okay. So I'm going to give a testimonial for Angela. I sent a client to her. She did a phenomenal job. Write on a thank you and go give that thank you card during the meeting.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Isn't that amazing? I prepped. I was ready for this, and I really wanted to recognize. And here's another thing. If you wrote a thank you card, you won't forget it. Because have you ever been in the referral testimonial and you're like, I have a referral for so-and-so and 17 other things I wanted to say today, and I have forgot them all. And I see people write them down. But I think taking that thank you over really
and also making it. So I've received thank you cards. I've received nice to meet you cards. I've received Christmas cards that are just signed. Okay, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your money.
Yep.
It's got to be personalized. It's got to be, and it's not that hard to do. You can be like, thank you so much. The guy told me blah, 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 and that your team was very prepared and you were nicely dressed. Or, something to show that you did more than just, oh, hey, I've got a stack of 50 of these in my...
Yep.
Because that's how I usually feel. When I receive a card in the business world, 95% of the time, that's how I feel. He's got a stack of cards. He decided this is how he's going to set himself apart. And I was one of 50 who got one of these this week.
I had the task of getting to know all my new clients when I came to the bank, and I did a thank you card. It was pre-printed, like a hello card, but I wrote on there, I look forward to working with you, and then signed my name. I know it was consistent across the board, but it was handwritten, like that part, and my handwriting sucks. So it's very obvious that I was sitting there. So even in my eyes, and what I think is, even if they did write 100 of these, that dude wrote 100 of these. You had a little person. I do like the extra touch. When someone mentions something, about your meeting and everything, I think that's cool. But for the Christmas cards, I'm not going to be able to. Well, and I didn't know these people. See, I didn't know them. I didn't have anything special going in. That's different. But I just wanted to stand out.
Here's my name. I'm going to be working with you.
And what's funny is another person, like I was working on it for weeks because I can't focus for more than 20 minutes. But the person's like, well, gosh, it took me 5 minutes. And I go, why? They're like, well, I just signed my name and sealed it. I was like, that's it? So your message was, well, it's just printed.
Yeah.
Here you go. So I think there's a little more that you can do with that. And then bring in referrals. You don't always have to bring a referral to make sure it's a valid referral. I really do feel there were some people that brought a referral just to get into the drawing. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then I also think there's more value to saying I have a referral for Angela. It is about a website. Instead of I have a referral for Angela. His name is Tim. Tim and I met way back at Garden Cafe at a group. And after we had talked for a while, he mentioned websites just once. And I just knew that Angela would be the one. Like, we don't have time.
No. And also, I hate to say this because I am not a paranoid people are to get you. I'm not that type of person at all.
Okay.
But if you're giving a bunch of details about the referral, what if Betty's husband also does websites? And Betty is like, oh, they're coming up on on an ownership change and they're going to need a new website. And I know that Bob does them cheaper than Pixelfire.
Yep.
I mean, it's sad that you have to worry about that. But if you just say, I have a referral for Angela, somebody needs a new website, nobody else really needs to know.
I agree. And if you don't share the story, guess who has an awesome testimonial or a great weekly presentation coming up?
Yeah.
Angela, let the person you referred share the story.
Because then again, what are you doing when you give the whole story?
Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
But the big thing is have new activity to share each week. And I hope we really kind of pounded that in where the people repeating the same thing, giving the same referral.
Speedy Gonzalez accent.
See, that's not okay. I see what I said there, but I'm not saying it in an accent. So how do you get more activity? One-to-ones.
Absolutely.
I preach the heck out of one-to-ones because I've seen more instances where I had a one-to-one with somebody, I learned something new, and now I have a referral for them. Mm-hmm. When you have a one-to-one and you set it up, you invite someone, you're showing that you want to learn more about them. Now, sometimes I talk too much, but...
And also, sometimes people can be completely different in a one-to-one setting. Most of the time they are. So I've got a husband that we've already talked about, makes an ass of himself in public sometimes.
We talk about that all the time.
It's a front. it's a front. It's not who he really is. Obviously, I wouldn't have married some douchebag.
You didn't marry the front. We know that.
It's a complete front. Once you get to know who he really is, he's a complete different person. You know, genuine and warm and caring and smart and all of those things. And you can either have that where they put out this blah front, or they have the shy ones that won't talk to anyone, or you have the ones who can only talk business because they're afraid of or don't know how it is. And if you are good at one-to-ones, you know, like both of us are, and if you can warm someone up, especially someone who's a little introverted or has some walls up, you can sit down and get them a cup of coffee, or better yet, a beer,
a beverage,
and get them talking about themselves and show that you care. You normally can bring out somebody you do want to, not only that you want to refer to, but that you can maybe develop even a stronger relationship with. It's really, really hard to do that in a large group.
It is. Oh, yes, absolutely. With dedicated short periods of spurts of time.
Yes.
And I think open networking, because a lot of these, you do the open networking at the beginning. I think open networking is different than a networking event, and it is different than a one-to-one.
Yes.
Like there are three different beasts. And so you can't rely on open networking to fill the one-to-one experience.
Nope, because you're going to have somebody horning in, you're going to have somebody pulling them away, and you're also in that big group setting that makes some people uncomfortable.
Yep, and they don't open up.
Yeah.
They don't open up. So gaining more credibility, one-to-ones, being more prepared, and bringing more referrals. Again, a one-to-one is going to lead you to maybe understanding more what your group needs to hear from you so that you can prepare them better for referrals. But then also bringing quality referrals. Again, that one-to-one meeting, the second you feel you know everyone in the group, simply, and this isn't easy, but set it up where you're meeting with a person from the group, try one person each week and ask them this question. You ready? So what is new in your industry? And I specifically say industry because if you say business,
it's something different.
It's something different. And it can easily be, oh, nothing really.
Or we just hired someone.
Super busy, or, oh gosh, what I've always talked about. But industry, that's when people get excited. Because then, to me, that opens up the door. You can talk about your competitors a little bit. Like, I want to learn the difference here.
Sure.
And everything changes in industries constantly. So, yep. Angela, we've met 100 times. We've had drinks. We've gone to events together. We really know each other. But man, I just want to know what's new in your industry right now. Like what is popping that I got to know about? And I think that gains credibility too. So hopefully, and I even wrote in the notes, we'll do an episode on one-to-ones. Because do you know we have never done an episode on one-to-ones?
We haven't?
No, I went and looked
That's
back
amazing.
in the Engaging Life podcast. I think we've done them individually on our own little world, but we've never touched on it here. And I think
what we
could just
should
have a lot of fun
do
with
for
that
a
one.
podcast?
What?
Have a one-to-one.
I don't want people to know what we really talk about.
That's probably a good idea.
That would be worse than the accent, I think.
It might. Yes.
That's why we work together.
A fake one-to-one.
Yeah, there you go. We'll script it.
Yeah, we'll do the one-to-one afterwards.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, any final thoughts on credibility? We kind of, I liked our little contradiction we had there because it opened my eyes.
It's okay to argue. It's okay to see things. It wasn't an argument, but
we don't argue.
To see things differently. Because sometimes I think we all need that to be yanked out of our own.
Oh, definitely.
Because right there, I'm like, doesn't everybody think that people trying to be clever is cringeworthy?
And I'm thinking, everybody loves this stuff.
Yes. It's so easy to be like, everybody thinks this way. Why? And if everybody thought that way, nobody would be doing that.
Yep.
And we all have such different lenses that being able to be able to be like, no, that's not the way I see it.
That's not great.
I think that's always great. So
good. Well, I want to close with this. You can't expect people to just refer you. You have to have the credibility so they will refer you.
And want to
refer you.
Fantastic.
So with that, hey, reviews. We love reviews.
We love
5-star reviews. If you just whispered, then they're not watching.
You repeated it, so it's fine.
5-star reviews. Comments. I would like more comments. I would love for people to be like, hey, this topic, I don't think you guys can figure out.
I would
Challenge
love that too.
Accepted.
We like challenges. Or you totally blew that up. I don't even care what the comments are.
Ooh,
Just
I would
comment.
take that. Let's do a 5-star review because you had fun, but then the comment of
The content was a little
but
lacking.
man, you missed the mark on this
Sure,
one.
we'll take it all.
And hey, check out the UBTube page or YouTube. I'm probably going to get sued for calling
The
it
tube.
UB. Oh, the tube. listening to the pod, watching the tube.
Or the
I see what you did there. But no,
the
we always
YT. Watch it on the YT. I'm going to coin that one.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we're calling it now.
We always love having you here. We always love chatting with you. And we look forward to talking to you on the next podcast.